Period one, hope you're doing okay. I'm doing all right. Miss you guys. I'll be back soon. But I want to go over I'm going to go over one problem, and then if you can complete today, pages 15 through 18 in your tone. All right, you should have already done your delta math on slopes, so this should be a little review for you. But in all these problems, through page 15 through 18, we need to calculate and interpret the slope. So that's your job. So let's take a look real quick at this problem here. I'm going to write down a couple numbers. So there is one point that's right here. Let's see if I can actually get a color for work here. So there's a point right here, and you should know how to read that point. That is going to be 0, 100. So I'm going to just type in 0. Sorry, let me get this a little bit larger. So that point is going to be 0. You should just stay where you're supposed to be. 0 and here we go, 100. Perfect. So that's the y-intercept, so I get that point. And then you need to find another point on the graph. There's 2 points. There's this point right here, and there's this point right here are great points to use because you can figure out what this one is. This one's a 4 and 200, or this one is 8 and 300. I don't care which one you use, but you need 2 points. So let's try the 8 and 300. Perfect. And that'll fit right there. Perfect. So now I have those 2 values. Now it says calculate and interpret my slope. So all we need is 2 points to calculate a slope, and we defined it as, I'm going to type it on the other screen now. It's the change in y divided by the change in x. So I'm going to say into a math expression. So I'm going to say slope is equal to, let's do the fraction first. Change in y. It doesn't let me do that. Change in y and the change in x over the change in x. Alright, I usually write it different when I'm writing now, but there we go. Alright, now in this problem, we need to figure out what's our change in y. So in this problem, I'm going to type another fraction, and I'm just going to subtract my y values. So when I want to find the change, I'm just subtracting. So 100 subtract 300, those are my y values. And remember, when you look at this is x, and these are your y values. So we're subtracting our y values. So I'll subtract those, 100 minus 300. And then I need to subtract the x's. So 0 minus 8. And that would be subtracting these ones. So all I'm doing is just a quick little subtraction, and then we'll get their answer. So let me go ahead and, oh, this program can't read that. Nice. Well, let me write what the program can read. The program can read numbers. So let me write this. And so really this is the math equation that we should have. Alright, now let's do our calculations real quick. So my calculations are going to be, well, that's going to be negative 200. 0 minus 8 is negative 8. And actually we did 2 steps at once. And then when you divide these out, a negative divided by negative is a positive, so my answer is 25. But now I want you to be able to interpret that. So I know the answer is 25, but I usually write my answer 25 over 1. Actually don't like the way this looks, so I'm going to write it over here. So I'll write it out right now just because this actually writes it easier for me. So your slope is equal to 25, but I would write that as 25 over 1 because that'll help you and do your interpretation. So if you do that, if you write it that way, you can actually figure out, well, what is y in this case? It's my savings amount. What's x in this case? It's my time. And now you should be able to write me an interpretation of what the slope means in this problem. So let's go ahead and let's leave that there and let's write an interpretation. So each month, the savings amount will increase by $25. And that would be a pretty good interpretation. Alright, each month, and so I know it's every month because it says 1 is the time frame, and time is in months. So in 1 month, your savings increased $25. So every month your savings is increasing $25. That's what we mean when we say interpret the slope. So for your assignments today, that's what we're looking for. Just remember when you subtract these values, whatever order you subtract the y's, make sure you subtract the x's in the same order. Otherwise, you'll have some mixed up values. Alright, if this was a negative 25, if the answer was negative 25, then you would say the same thing each month. The savings amount decreased by $25. So you're either going to say it's increasing or it's decreasing. Nothing too big here. It should be pretty simple. Alright, good luck.